Today, looking at 2D20 system, and these are the specialized dice that you get. Ooh, lots of infinity symbols there. So, yeah, cool dice. These are the Jing dice for Corvus Belli's Infinity role-playing game. So they give you 2 D20s, 1 hit location die, which has all the body parts on here, which is nice. This conforms to the chart that's inside of the book. And the specialized dice. I hate specialized dice, but okay. So yeah, I got the specialized dice here, so at least it's something. So the only numbers that are of any use to you are going to be these little blast marks. So this one's indicating 2, 1, and the only other one that's on here is the big N for the specials that happen. So special abilities can be used with these N. Dice Infinity. It's weird how they did the logo on this. Realize that you look at this and they go, that's an I mixed in with an N. That's crazy, man. It works. You know, it equalizes up their logo, and cool. Good eye trickery there. Corvus Belli and. Modiphius. Let's say it right. Modiphius. Gotta remember that. Well, Infinity's been around for a long time. I have not played the skirmish game. I do have lots of their miniatures because they make such cool miniatures. They're so nice. I do have the Infinity Defiance board game, which is massive and pretty much not going to be out there for the regular population. You had to back it on Kickstarter at the time, and I got the whole shebang, except for there was some extra box kits. I don't know. I might pick them up later and see if there is any available on the game sites aftermarket. Very cool concept in this game is collective of worlds, and these are actually big giant space train circuits going around the wormholes and stuff. So a very cool mass transit way of getting from place to place. And yeah, so whole idea here is we're dealing with a whole bunch of individual superpowers, which came originally from Earth, and I mean Earth over here, and flowing from Earth, colonizing different places, and some were failed or semi-failed, and some were remarkably awesome. And some of them developed technologies that they traded with others to advance their terraforming abilities and stuff. So it's some really cool background flavory kind of stuff with this game. To play this game, you only need this core rule book, and that is it, really. However, there are a lot of books because there is a ton of flavor to this game. This book does include a lot of background. Here's that big giant train that I was talking about. Here, let me throw on a little bit more light if I can get some here. I don't know if this will make any difference at all. Nope. So, Yeah, so you can see little tiny ships docking this big humongo space train. Very cool. Um, the game itself, it kind of really, it's kind of similar to the way you play. Well, not the mechanics, but the way you create your character is very similar to Traveler, where you go through little life path situations where you can either randomly roll the whole thing, or you follow a kind of a set path through everything and pick and choose what you kind of want, but roll to see the outcome of it to see if you succeed in each of those little career choices. So here, the life path system, skills and talents included with all that stuff. Now, the rules themselves, holy moly, you'll have to go from the front, like part of the front of the book where it introduced you to a lot of the concepts of how the dice work, and then go back to the section on rolling for, like conducting yourself in the gameplay aspects. Like combat and all that stuff, turn sequence, and how it all works. And tons of charts in here on life paths and little plug-in careers here, which are freaking crazy awesome. Lots of them here. This is enough really to get you super started in the game. There is also your Geists, which is kind of like a secondary component to your character. And a very cool thing that is presented here is if another player plays your Geist. So you're playing your main character, and then you have a Geist, but your Geist can be played by a fellow role player, and you can, in turn, play his Geist as well. So it's kind of like having a second voice. Sometimes you can go ahead and take those Geists and put them into little android-y machines or gadget. Like you'll see the miniatures of the little like cat robots and stuff like that. Those are Geists. So that's it's a cool thing. They're kind of extensions of your entire personality, balancing you out. There's also the concept of these cubes that your memories and everything are continually uploaded towards. And if you end up dying, you could technically come back. But you either have to be someone of some power, or you gain credits to obtain that status where they will allow you to come back, because there's a very kind of hinging pseudo-religious kind of intonations with the aspects of that. In some places frown upon it, and some go with the science. And so it's this killer concept behind the task resolutions and stuff. You're trying to get as many successes as possible. Any extreme successes that you get, where you're rolling, this is a roll under system, so the lower the better. So get out those dice that roll ones on your 20-siders and use them for this game, because your dice will have a use for this. I know some people throw away those dice that always roll the ones, but keep them for this game or any D20 game. So the idea, rolling under, getting as many successes as possible. Any overage of successes, you can put it into your momentum pool during the scene and keep on using them as extra rolls for later on, because sometimes you will end up having situations where you don't need just one success, you need 2 or 3 or for. It opens up the game master to a lot of interpretations to the rules on how he can apply this to different tasks. Sometimes it'll be accumulation of these rolls, like instead of rolling it all at once in one turn, you could, as a game master, say, well, he needs 5 successes, and then let them roll. They got 3 successes the first time, and then potentially the next turn they could go ahead and roll again and hopefully get the next 2, or maybe they just get 1 out of that, and then they have to wait another turn. And then so you can use it that way. You can do it's very easy to for the game master to homebrew the game quite a bit on different situations. So very cool that way. I would personally goof around with that with the players for a bit before we get into kind of like a substantial. I haven't played this with a group yet, but I am itching to. So zone effects, so we're getting into cover and stuff like that. Some cool concepts to kind of cut back a lot of the ultra tactical kind of stuff that you would find in something like 5e, where you can basically play this with the theater of the mind a lot more without any tactical issues. Breaching into social networks. Everything has kind of like this hit point spread. So you'll have your character with a set of hit points. You'll have your character himself or herself or whomself has also a firewall. So people can hack into you in order to override some of your systems that are built into you, like cybernetics and stuff like that. So there's that. There's also hacking into your social network as well. So all that is combated with, like you rely on a set of hit points on each of those, including your brain and there. Everything has the same. As I go rambling. Everything has the same kind of technique to resolving the situation. Combat resolves it. Reduce the hit points. You have shields, which reduce those losses. And same thing with the firewalls and everything else in this game. It's for your mind, so you get mental effects that happen to you as well. So your brain has a certain amount of hit points. So it's all cool. A lot of the stuff written out here, these are all kind of vehicles and stuff like that. You get everything to work on your characters, build them up, figure out where they situate themselves in the world. And yeah, it's some very cool ideas in here. A very kind of neo-despotic, dystopian, but it's a mix. It's a real mix across all the spectrum of. What the hell was that? It's quite a mix of all the spectrum of interesting worlds. So this is all talking about the governments. Each of the worlds have their maps and basic points on each one of those. And we will continue through here. This is all flavor, fluff that you can use in your game. Ideas for different corporations that are working for or against each other. Bring this back a little bit here. Oh yeah, I've got two books that I'm waiting for. One is Tohaa. That one will be coming soon, and then the Game Master Screen, so I will show those in a separate video. Tons of gear, Tons of gear. Lots of gear. Acquisition to gear. You don't have to worry about money. Your credit rating is what you're gonna be worrying about in this game, and your connections on how to get said restricted weapons and stuff like that. It all depends on how your character's built and what kind of networking he has. So lots of cool weapons and items, and a little section here on how to run a game. Not very hard, like a lot of the stuff. Opponents in here are made in a very quick little section. A lot of these adversaries are in a collection of cards that you can also purchase. I am unlikely going to do that unless there's like a really good sale. I like cards, but I'm not particularly focused on that in this game. It's more like Numenera and the Strange. I like cards in that one. They're very good for that. Character sheet at the end here. You have a couple of different layouts here for your character sheet, including ones that you can download. So, and everybody who backed the entire Kickstarter on this one is listed in here with a pretty handy index in the back. So, gotta have that index. So that's number one. The second part, which would be, I guess, a little more useful for the Game Masters, of course, will be this Game Master Guide. It's not a super thick book. It comes in at 190 pages, I guess. That all comes down to it. Gives you a lot of flavor on the imagery here, and some cool ideas on creating scenes, random events that can happen, stuff that the Game Master can use heat with, so it gives you ideas there. And yeah, just some ideas for creating a campaign. So, they say the imagery in here is freaking awesome. Lots of pictures. There's a very quasi anime meets realistic. Like sub-realistic. It's kind of a really interesting mix of art styles in some of it. Some of it will be kind of more cel shaded drawing, others will not. But I tell you, the miniatures themselves are some of the most detailed miniatures you will ever purchase. As far as a big company goes, like you can get a lot of boutique stuff, and that is very detailed, like Corvus Belli's miniatures. But Corvus Belli, as a bigger company, the quality of their sculpts is crazy, very crazy, and they are all metal. At least they're trying to move to plastic, so a plastic style of miniatures now. I have one of their PCV miniatures. Well, it's actually a big miniature. You've seen me pull it out before, and that's the Megalodron from Infinity Defiance board game. So, and you can use any miniatures from any kind of modern or sci-fi, and I have tons of those, as my pictures attest. And what I painted before, lots of that style of miniatures. Pretty extensive appendix of really cool ideas for some charts here that you can use. They actually have some some pretend cards back here that if you had the PDF, it'd be one way of getting yourself some cards to utilize. Printing them out yourself. Some record sheets here, which are nice to refer to. I'll be creating my own, of course, using my software that I usually use to create my PDFs. So that's the Game Master's Guide right there. Then I got this one, which is so when I first got this, I got the 3 books: the main rule book, the Game Master's Guide, and the Adventures in the Human Sphere. So I had an idea of how they like to build their missions. So this is basically an adventure book. Several missions in here, some ideas in here for having some awesome game idea to start and start a game group together, run them through one of these adventures just to see how they feel, and then you can expand on that and go further with it by creating your own stuff. Next, I have purchased, and I will pull these away. Put them out of the way. Are the smaller, and these range roughly in thickness. This one's 110 pages, including all the index pages and everything. This one is on collectively on Mercenaries as a whole, and their place in the game, different ideas of how to create these characters. And there is these are very player centric, to give them a bit of fluff, idea of what they're getting into and being a mercenary, and giving them some extra ideas on what kind of purchases they can make in the submondo area of that dark underground mercenary livelihood. And yeah, this is a very nice resource book for both players and the game masters, because the game master, if you're gonna run some mercenaries, there is some very good ideas in here for you to utilize. Lots of fluff, lots of maps, very awesome stuff in here for the game master as well as the players. Of course, I got the stuff on the main bad guys here, the combined army. So these are the main adversarial forces in the game, giving you an idea of their philosophies and their the makeshift of their armies as a collective of aliens that have been assimilated into one monstrous empire that goes around conquering other areas for resources. So some great stuff in here. Same thing if your characters are going to be playing some of the combined army. Well, there you go, they can do so. And for the game master, it's a great way to, because sometimes characters will get captured by the combined army. And will they be subverted to the dark side here? You never know. You never know. Hackazlam. Going into details of the world and the background fluff on them. So these guys have some pretty hefty technologies that are needed elsewhere in the realm of this entire universe. And yeah, a lot of this stuff has been traded around, mostly terraforming kind of technologies, which they exceed in, and a lot of information in there. These are all basically the same size books here that I'm showing you. Elef, which is the mostly AI intensive humanoids of this universe. So we're getting into Los, which are the living hosts, Geist, all that stuff. Some really cool options in there to add to your game. Very cool on that. Now none of these are needed. However, you're missing out on a lot of flavor without these books. So Nomads, basically living on ships floating elsewhere. So we get the blueprints for the big ginormic ships here. I think we have them in the back. Back there? No, I thought we did. Thought we had more. No. Okay. So Nomads. Yeah, definitely a. These they're all different from each other. Getting into each of their motherships here, and some notable people involved with the Nomads. Lots of flavor, lots of additional extra career profiles to add to your game as well. So all these books have these extra extra careers and stuff that you can add onto your base game. So it adds a lot more options for your players. It's starting to feel like second edition all over again. AD&D second edition. So we're buying a lot of books. These are relatively cheap compared to those books that we used to buy. So Yujin, which is the Neo-Asian culture, Chinese, Japanese centric mostly, but they split off. So you do have a little bit of rebellion going on with these guys. So some very interesting concepts in here. Lots of world information, lots of character careers added as well. Panoceania. This is more. Look at that artwork. I mean, the SJWs would be just flying off the hilt right now. But when you can make your body into anything you want to in the future, why not, hey? So these guys are the quintessential good guys in this series, but about as good guy as you're gonna get in this entire world. There are very religiocentric-ish, interesting. So like I say, I'm missing the Tohaa book. Like I say, that is coming in, and I will show that on a different video, as well as the GM's screen as well, which has some extras in it. So I did manage to hunt those down on Noble Knight Games, and I've got them on the way. And yeah, Infinity. So if you're getting into it, like I said, we'll only need the core rulebook, and you could use, you know, ideas out of the Game Master's Guide. That's really good to have. Having those two alone, you'll have enough stuff to go on with those. But if you want to really get your players involved and making really cool meaningful additional choices depending on which faction they choose. These extra books are awesome for them. They're meant for the players. They're also meant for the game masters to get their head inside of how each society works. So there you go. And it's not so miniature centric as the original Infinity Universe is as a skirmish game. This lends itself very well by the way it's written to be, you can use, maps and use abstract moving to insinuate where your character is at the time. And you don't need to use it as a tactical kind of thing, which the original Infinity game itself as a skirmish game is. So there you go. So hopefully I'll have a group playing this soon enough, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how this pandemic thing works out. So go from there. Anyways, this is me signing off. Thanks for watching.